Hey guys, this is Sravya here, and today for my first video, we're going to be talking about cells. So why did I pick the topic cells? Cells make up all living beings and basically everything that has life. Because they make up you and me, that is unless you are a robot, which you probably are not, I thought why not make my first video on them. I found them very interesting while I was in grade 6, and by the way, I'm in grade 7 right now. So I wanted to teach you guys something about them. The thing is though, while I was learning about them in grade 6, I really did not get the topic in the beginning. I was very confused, but later on it started to become more and more clear. A lot of people say I have a natural knack for teaching, so why not make life easier for you guys and teach you A to Z about cells. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you have any questions at all, you can either email me, my email will be in the description box below, or you can just ask in the chat box. Either way, I'll clear it up for you. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button for more, and also give me a big thumbs up. Thanks! So what exactly is a cell? A cell is the smallest organism that can be considered as a living thing. They make up all living beings and are used like the building blocks of life. There are many types of cells and each cell has a different use. For example, root hair cells are found at the roots of plants and they are used to suck water and nutrients from the soil. Another example would be blood cells, which are found throughout the human body. These blood cells are used to transport oxygen from one place to another inside the human body. We will be looking into a few different types of cells. Cells are also classified into further divisions, as we're going to see. Cells are also made up of different parts of a cell, and we're going to look into that as well. So the first thing you need to know about cells is that cells are not just cells. There's many types of cells, and there are lots of subdivisions in cells itself. So here I'm showing you a clear image of the subdivisions. First, as you can see, there's the organism itself. Inside the organism, not like physically inside, I mean like a subdivision of the organism, you have the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. So we'll talk more about the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes later, but you can see again, inside the eukaryotes you have the single-celled organisms, which are basically unicellular beings, and multicellular organisms, which have more than just one cell. And at last, inside the multicellular organisms, you have plant cells and animal cells. A lot of you might be really confused right now because either you've never heard of a lot of these names or your teacher didn't teach you about subdivisions of cells. Don't panic, it's fine, because I'm going to walk you through each and every one of these. The next thing we're going to talk about are the different types of cells. As already mentioned, there's a lot of different types of cells in the human body and in other living beings. So now we're going to look at a few of them. White blood cells. A white blood cell is basically a type of blood cell, but it's nothing similar to a red blood cell. White blood cells are found in the human body in the circulatory system. They're the body's defense system against viruses, infections, diseases, and any other threats. The job of the white blood cell is to protect the body by defeating or killing these threats. There are a few different types of white blood cells, and they all have their own way of defeating the threat. For example, lymphocytes produce antibodies and chemicals which destroy the threat and prevent it from entering the person's body. The other cell I'm going to talk about is the root hair cell. Root hair cells are found at the roots of plants and are used to suck up water and nutrients from the soil. They are very long and thin, so they can go between the soil and reach as much water as possible. The shape of the root hair cell is not similar to the shape of any other cell. Instead of being circular, root hair cells look kind of like a key. Even though they are in a different shape, they have everything a normal cell does. The parts of a cell. There are many parts of a cell, but today I'm going to only tell you about a few of the important ones. So the organs of cells are called organelles because they literally are to a cell what organs are to us. I like to think of the cell as a factory, and each organelle as a machine which helps the factory do what it does. So each different organelle has a specific function or task which it has to carry out for the cell to work perfectly. There are quite a few different types of organelles, and each type of organelle has tens of thousands of copies going around in the cell. The cell membrane. The cell membrane is like the wall of a cell with doors. The membrane separates the inside of the cell from the outside, and it controls what goes into the cell and what comes out of the cell. The next one is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is basically like a substance inside the cell in which all the organelles float. I like to imagine it like the water in a swimming pool. The cytoplasm is made up mostly of water but has other substances in it as well. The nucleus. The nucleus has the DNA of the cell, which is basically the protein which decides what the cell does and how the cell goes about doing it. The nucleus contains the nucleolus. The mitochondria. The mighty mitochondria, as I like to call it, is the powerhouse of the cell. It makes most of the energy needed to execute a lot of the cell's chemical reactions. The energy the mitochondria makes are stored in bags called adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP. Chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are basically the organelles which are found only in plant cells. They are not found in animal cells. Chloroplasts make the food for the plant by performing photosynthesis. The chloroplasts contain chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is a green pigment which absorbs sunlight to make the food the plant needs. Then comes the ribosome. Ribosomes are kind of like mini factories inside the cell. They synthesize proteins. They are made of RNA and proteins, and their job is to synthesize the proteins as well as read the RNA to translate it. So the next topic we're going to cover is prokaryotes versus eukaryotes. The difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes is that prokaryotes contain only one prokaryotic cell, while eukaryotes are made up of many eukaryotic cells. There's a difference even in the organelles of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotic cells only have a cell membrane, a capsule, cytoplasm, nucleoid, and something to help with transportation, for example a flagellum. Eukaryotic cells, on the other hand, have many organelles, including ones I just taught you. The main difference, though, between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells is that eukaryotic cells have a membrane-bound nucleus, but prokaryotic cells don't. Some examples of eukaryotes would be humans, plants, animals, etc. And some examples of prokaryotes would be archaea, blue-green algae, E. coli, etc. So the next topic we're going to cover is unicellular versus multicellular. Unicellular organisms are basically beings which are made up of only one cell. This one cell contains everything needed for the being to function and survive. Some examples of unicellular beings would be bacteria, protozoa, unicellular fungi, unicellular algae, archaea, etc. Multicellular beings, on the other hand, are made up of multiple cells, as the name suggests. They usually have many different types of cells, and each one of them has a different job. Some examples of multicellular organisms would be humans, plants, animals, and most types of fungi. The next and the last topic we're going to cover for today is plant cells versus animal cells. The main difference between a plant cell and an animal cell lies in the size of the vacuole. A vacuole is another organelle which acts like a storage tank for the cell. Plant cells need bigger and larger vacuoles, mainly because they do not control when they get water and food. An example would be the fact that we have to water our plants and the plants cannot water themselves. So they need to store large amounts of food and other supplies in case they do not get materials to survive later. The vacuole helps them survive even when the plant is not getting enough supplies. Animal cells, on the other hand, they don't need such big vacuoles. They can move by themselves most of the time, and they can control when they eat and how much they eat. But just in case, animal cells still do have vacuoles to store some materials. Another difference between animal cells and plant cells would be the chloroplasts. Animal cells do not have chloroplasts because they do not do photosynthesis. But most plant cells do have chloroplasts as they need to perform photosynthesis to survive. So sadly guys, this video is now coming to an end, and I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Once again, it's called Acing 101. And if you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit the thumbs up button. I spent an entire Sunday on this, so feel free to tell me how this video was in the comment section below. And if you have any questions, any suggestions for my next video, or any ideas on what I should make my next video on, please put it in the comments below as well. Thank you so much guys for listening to me today, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you soon and bye.